Hello friends, this is Jim with Science Talk. Interesting finding from the world of paleontology. World's oldest footprints discovered on ancient seafloor. The oldest footprints ever found were left between 551 million and 541 million years ago during the Ediacaran period. Now, I've done videos before talking about Ediacaran organisms. These were a group of organisms that were in existence before the Cambrian explosion, basically dying out just before or right at the beginning of the Cambrian explosion. The Cambrian explosion is where we see the basically most of the phyla that are in existence today. There are some others that came into existence that have gone extinct, but basically all the phyla that have ever existed in the planet formed then, barring any new scientific discoveries of rare organisms. So this is hundreds of millions of years before dinosaurs and the colonization of land. The Ediacaran organisms were aquatic organisms. They had not conquered land, so you find them in shallow seas, lakes, that kind of stuff. But what's interesting is in all the previous specimens describing these groups of organisms, basically the body plan was extremely simple, wasn't much to it, and almost seemed to be nondescript. Well, this one has thrown a few interesting curveballs here. You might even say a slider or a changeup. Because the new findings suggest that some of these animals did evolve primitive appendages of some sort. And that means this is earlier than previously thought. So they left kind of odd-looking prehistoric trackways that show two rows of imprints that appear to be a series of repeated footprints. Where were these trackways found? They were found in the Dengying Formation, which is a site in the Yangtze Gorges area of southern China. The trackways' characteristics indicate a bilateral animal, basically an animal with bilateral symmetry. We have bilateral symmetry. There's basically a left and a right side. Yes, inside our organs are not exactly bilaterally symmetrical, but our outward appearance is. A left leg, a left arm, a right leg, a right arm, and so on. As opposed to, say, an organism that exhibits radial symmetry, like a starfish. Everything radiates out. It's almost like radiating out from a central location with repeated appendages and body parts and so on. So, and the other thing is this creature not only had indication of a bilateral symmetry, it has a head at one end, a back end, and a symmetrical right and left side. Made the track. This is a sea-dwelling organism and appears to have paired appendages, and that it could apparently raise its body up off the surface of the ocean. So they can lift its body up above the ocean floor. How do they notice? We just see the track. We don't see a drag mark for the main torso, if you will, of the organism. These footprints are located next to fossilized burrows. This means whatever this animal, this organism was, might have periodically dug a little burrow into the ocean floor. Like as much as you see with gobies. A fish that likes to burrow into the substrate, it lives in there, comes out, grabs a bit of plankton or whatever, zooplankton, and darts back into its hole. Okay. And, so maybe what was it doing then? Well, maybe it was looking for, a home, some sort of shelter, some sort of refuge. Perhaps it was feeding on microbial mats. Might have been looking for oxygen for food, whatever. Just a whole bunch of possibilities there. Now, footprints in burrows are referred to as trace fossils. That is a term that's used to indicate fossilized remnants that animals leave behind. Footprints in burrows, not necessarily a fossilized version of the animal itself. Also, fossilized scat. Right? You'd be surprised how much you can learn from studying fossilized scat. And there's plenty of dinosaur scat that have been examined, and when you do so, you can get an idea of the animal's diet, as an example. So, that's what trace fossils are. They're fossilized evidence of an organism having been alive, but not the fossils of the organisms themselves. So these newfound trace fossils are some of the earliest known evidence for animal appendages on record. Until this discovery came along, it was thought that bilateral animals, such as arthropods, annelid worms, first appeared during a Cambrian explosion, which is 541 million or 510 million years ago. So you can see there's that slight overlap. The Ediacaran existed from 551 to 541. They died out either just before the Cambrian explosion or shortly after the Cambrian explosion began. So the discovery of the trackways and burrows showed the animals' appendages lived during the Ediacaran period, and this report can be found in the journal Science Advances. So this is really fascinating. Like everything else, it pushes back our timing of organisms, of multicellular organisms' appearances, and other features that help us understand better any evolutionary processes and relationships. That was just a nice, fascinating little story report that I wish to share with you. Thank you for your time. We'll talk again. Hey folks, just a reminder to please subscribe and click the bell so you know when I drop a video. Please share my videos. Please tell others of my channel and of the work that I do. I also hope that you will consider becoming a patron at patreon.com/Science Talk with Jim Massa, where from time to time I upload videos there exclusively for my patron subscribers. Details in the description box below.